Good morning, all of you. You might have wondered by seeing this face, no? A new face. Okay, first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Sunny. I am going to teach you chemistry for this academic year. Okay? I don't think that I don't want to explain about me more. Let's have a discussion later when you are coming to the school. Okay. Look here, we are directly going to our first chapter, and the name of our first chapter is Matter in Our Surroundings. Matter. What is the matter? That the question you are asking always, right? To your friend, some of your friends are sitting there with a sad face and all. You will go and ask that, what is the matter? Is that matter and this matter are same? No, this matter is a chemical matter. It is a chemical matter. All the things, I mean everything in the world is made up of matters. Okay, everything in the world is made up of matter. So, what will be the definition of the matter? Matter is something that is occupying a space and having a mass. Right? Let me show you. Yeah. What is this? Whiteboard marker, right? Is this having a mass? Yeah, it is having a mass. A small amount of weight is there for this, right? And this is also occupies a space, right? It is having this much bigger thing, right? So it should occupy some space. So matter is something that occupies a space and having a certain amount of mass, right? So everything in the world is occupying some space, and those things are having some mass also. So everything in the world are matters. Or we can say that everything in the world are made up of matters. Alright. So what is this matter? Again, the same question, right? This matter is made up of tiny particles. Matters are made up of tiny particles. In last year's first chapter, you have studied about polymer, monomer and all, right? These monomers combine together to form a polymer and all you have discussed, right? So the same thing is coming here also. Matter is something is made up of particles. What will be the particles? It can be atoms, molecules, okay, a minute particle which will not be able to see with our naked eyes. Okay, will not be able to see that minute particles with our naked eyes, just like cells in biology, right? We cannot see cells. Can I look at my hand and see the cells here? No, it is just like that. So these minute particles. So these minute particles can be atoms or molecules. Let's take it as atoms here. Okay, so matter are made up of tiny particles, right? So when you are saying about matters are made up of tiny particles, and those are the things having a mass and occupies a space, right? So that is clear for you. And we are going to the characteristics of the particles, not about the matters. We told that matters are made up of tiny particles. So first we have to discuss about the particles there, right? So we are moving to the characteristics of the particles. And these characteristics will be having a small change according to the type of the matter. Okay, that I'll come to that point. First of all, let me say the characteristics first. These particles are continuously moving. Particles are continuously moving. Small particles. It will be just like I'll draw something here. Okay, here is a box. Suppose this is a matter, and this will be having lot of particles inside, right? These small dots are known as particles. Okay. These are known as particles. These particles will be continuously moving, not in the same direction and all. It will move how it want to move, just like that it will go. Right? So the particles are continuously moving. Next, having space between them. Look here, these particles are not they are not gathered together and all. It is having some space in between them, right? Right? Yeah, so the particles are having space between them. Then they attract each other also. What? They are having space between them and they are attract each other also. How it is happening? Okay, that you will come to know when we are moving to the explanation. Okay, so they attract each other. You just note it down. The characteristics of particles: they are continuously moving, they are having space between them, and the particles attracts each other. Good. So we are moving to that. How these characteristics are differ from matter to matter. Matter to matter. What is this matter to matter? There are three types of matter that you have studied in the lower classes: solid, liquid, and gas. Right? Solid means something like this. Right? This can be known as a solid material. And which is a liquid material? Water. Water is an example of a liquid, right? Then our oxygen, carbon dioxide, everything, right? Those are the gaseous material. So there are three types of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. The thing is that these properties will differ from this type of matters. That means solid will be having a certain type of property, whereas liquid will not be having the same as solid. Got it? These characteristics will change according to this type of matters. Okay. So we are moving to the first type of matter, that is solid. So let's take an example of solid. Okay. Yeah. This marker is a solid material, right? This is rigid and having a perfect shape and having little mass also. Okay, so the materials like this can be known as a solid, and the material that is familiar to you are these stones. Stones are there? No, those are also solid. So let's discuss the characteristics of particles in a solid material. Okay, characteristics of particles in a solid material. A solid material will be just like this itself. It can be a square shape. Let's take an example of a square shaped solid material, and this solid material is made up of lot of tiny particles like this. Okay, it will be just joined together. Okay, just try to draw this with me. Okay, these all small particles you can see here, they all are attracted each other very closely. That means they are very tightly packed, right? Tightly packed. There is no big gaps in between the particles and all, right? So these characteristics will also change. Change means there will be a small difference from other type of matters. That is, in solids, the movement of particles will be very minimum. Minimum means negligible, right? The particles will not move. If the particle is moving, it will not be having a perfect shape, right? This marker is made up of plastic material, right? This is a solid. This is a solid having a shape. Look at this, having a good shape, right? The particles of this material, if those particles are moving, it will not be having this shape. Got it? So in solid, the movement of particles will be very less, I mean negligible, right? Then the next one, having space between them. Can you see space between the particles here? A small minute spaces will be there between the particles, not a big space and all will be there. Okay, you will understand that space when we are discussing the example of liquid. Okay, So there is no that much space in between the particles inside a solid matter. And the last one, the attraction between the particles. The attraction between the particles. In a solid material, the attraction between the particles will be very high, means it will be maximum. Okay, these particles will be tightly packed. Tightly packed, because of this tightly packed peculiarity, it is having a perfect shape. Okay, so in solid, the characteristics will change like this. It will be having a negligible moving characteristic. And the space between the particle will be also very less. That means a minute space will be there, which will not be able to see with our naked eyes. Right? And the attraction between the particle will be very high. Because of that much attraction, these solid materials are having a perfect shape and a rigid character. Is that clear? Okay, you just note it down. And we are moving to the next type of next state of matter is liquid. What is that? Liquid. You know that the most familiar liquid matter particle is water, right? The water you are using water in your daily life. Okay, so let's take an example of water here. I am going to rub solid. Let's take the example of solid now. Sorry, liquid now. Okay, liquid. As I told, liquid is so familiar to you, the water you are using in your daily life. Okay, I'll draw a sample structure. Okay, this is something or liquid on a floor or something. You just consider it like that only. This liquid material or this liquid particle is also made up of small particles. Very small particles which will not be able to see with our naked eyes. Don't forget that sentence. Okay, these particles are not visible with our naked eyes. We have to use this microscope and all to see these particles. Anyway, let's come to the liquid. The particles in a liquid are continuously moving. Yeah, particles are continuously moving. But what is the difference in the liquid? The thing is that in liquid, they can move very easily. They can move very easily than the solid. Okay, in solid, the particles cannot move. We cannot consider it as a moving. It is very a negligible point, right? So when we are comparing with the solid, in liquid, the particles can move as very easier than the solid. Okay. The next one, having space. Yeah, you can see here a lot of spaces are there in between the particles. I'll tell you an example. Why we are using boiled water to make tea? Why we are using boiled water to make tea? Have you ever thought about that? Why we are using this boiled water? We can take a glass of water and put some tea powder in that and you just stir it well. It will be also a type of tea, right? Why we are using this boiled? The thing is that we are using the boiled water because when heat comes, this particle will start to move very fast. These particles will start to move very fast when this effect of heat will increase the speed of particles. So it will move very fastly in between the water and the space will also increase. Okay, if it is a hot water, the space will also increase and these particles of tea powder, suppose if this glass is having full of water and lot of particles are here and this blank, okay, I will draw it very clearly. You can see some white particles here. I am going to put some tea powder will be like this, okay, very black particles. I am going to put some black particles into it. So when the black particle comes, it will fix in the spaces of this white particle. This black particle will come and fix or fill the spaces in between the white particles. That means these white particles are the particles of water and this black particle are the particles of tea powder. Okay, when I am putting the tea powder, this tea powder will come and tea powder particle will come and fill the space in between the water particles. So while we are using the boiled water, the difference is that while we are using the boiled water, the space will change and it will start to move fast. So the mixing of this particle will happen very fastly than in a cold water. So we are using boiled water to make tea. That is not our topic here. Having the space between the particles, that is here. In liquid state, the particle will be having more space than solid. In liquid state, the particles will be having more space than the solid particles. Is that right? So you have to write in solid, you have to write the space between the particle is very minute and the movement is negligible, and attraction is very much attracted, highly attracted, that you can see. Okay, and the next one, liquid. When you are writing the first point, what you have to write? What you have to write? Yeah, here they are moving very easily than solid. Particles are moving very easily than solid. Next one, they are having enough space, a certain amount of space between the particles, right? Then the next one, attraction between the particles. This liquid items, suppose if it is a glass of water, you are pouring that water into a glass, right? That water will be having the shape of the glass itself. Am I right? The same amount of water or the same water you are pouring on a floor. Okay, here I am pouring on this floor. So this water will spread around this floor, right? Why it is happening? Why it is happening? Because the attraction is very less and the movement is higher. Because of the particle attraction between the particles are very less, it is not having a certain shape, right? It is not having a certain shape because the attraction is very less. Wherever we are pouring that, wherever you are filling that, the shape of that material or the glass or whatever the thing you are using, the shape of that thing will be the liquids. Am I right? Am I right? You have made a lot of ice cubes in fridge, right? In your refrigerator, in the freezer, you have made a lot of ice cubes. You will be having a, what we will say, one plate of thing where to make the ice cubes and all, right? When you are pouring the water into that, the shape of the water will be the same of that plate. And when you are making it freeze, the shape of that cube will be the same as of that plate. Why it is happening? Because of the space and because of the moving capability of the particles and the less attraction. Not too less, a medium attraction. There is having an attraction, it is having some attraction, but not like in solid. In liquids, the particles are having some amount of attraction, but not like or not that much in the solid. Okay. So when you are coming to the liquid, what you have to say? What you have to say? They are moving than the solid. The particles are moving than in solid material and having space between them, right? The particles having space between them, and the attraction of the particles or attraction between the particles are having more than the solid. Attraction is there. I am not saying no attraction. Attraction is there. It is more than the solid. Is that clear? So we have discussed about solid and liquid. Now we are moving to the next one, that is gas. Gas. Gas we can say in one word, what? Air, right? Air is there around you. Wherever you are sitting, without air you cannot live. Without oxygen you cannot live. Without carbon, can we live? Carbon dioxide? Without carbon dioxide also we cannot live. Carbon dioxide also needed for us, right? That and all you have studied before and you will discuss in the higher classes also. Anyway, come to the point, gas. What is the difference in the characters of these particles in gas that we are going to discuss now? First one, moving. What about the moving capability of the particle in gas? Just think that you are taking a glass. You are taking a glass and you are just taking a cylinder of oxygen and you are pouring that oxygen into the glass, what will happen? This oxygen will fill the glass and it will be like that itself. It will keep there inside the glass itself, right? No, this gas will go out. We cannot control it. We cannot catch the gas and all, right? Because the particles of the gas is moving. It is very highly moving, right? We cannot control that. If we are taking a beaker and all, the gaseous particle will be just like this. It will go outside and all. You cannot control that. It is not in your hand. You wanted a closed cylinder to keep it inside. Just like your cooking gas and all, you have seen, no? A small knob will be there, and just like this, like material it will be, right? And inside this, all the gaseous particle will be there because it's a closed cylinder. If it is an open one, it will go out. We cannot control that, right? So the particles are very highly moving. Next one, space. Just think. Look here. Can we determine the space between the particles? In the gas, we cannot say that. The space will be according to the cylinder or the material we have filled inside. If I am having a cylinder like this, okay, a square cylinder I am having, inside this oxygen gas is there. This oxygen gas will be filled inside, and the space, it will be filled like this, filled up to the edge of the cylinder where you are filling that. Till the edge it will fill. This is suppose a 3-liter cylinder. Let it be a 3-liter cylinder. And we are taking another cylinder of 10 liter. And I am filling the same amount of gas inside that, and that gas particles will be fill the edges of this cylinder itself. Right. So wherever you are filling this gas, the capacity of that cylinder and all will be determine the space between the particles. It is not in our hand. So the space is also high. Space between the particles also very high, right? So the moving capability is very high, and the space between the particles are also very high. And the third point is attraction. If I am saying that in gas the particles are highly attracted, will you agree? If anyone is agreeing, just close your mouth and sit there. Right. In gaseous matters, these particles are not that much attracted. If it is attracted, these gas particles will be having a definite shape. Okay. Gas particles are not having a definite shape because it is not having attraction between the particles. As I told, wherever you are filling that gas, the shape of that cylinder or the material, wherever you are filling, the shape of that material will be the shape of that gas. If I am filling that inside a circle cylinder or a ball type of cylinder, the shape of the gas will be just like a ball. Right? If I am filling that in a square type of cylinder, the shape of the gas will be the square shape. And if I am giving an open cylinder, it will not be having any shape. The gas will flow through the air. Right? It will go to the atmosphere. Am I right? Is that clear? So, gas is not having attractive force between the particles. Okay, I will say from the first, we have discussed about matter first, right? What is a matter we have discussed? Everything in the world is made up of matter, and what we have discussed? Matter is something that occupies space and having mass. Something that occupies space and mass. I am having some mass, right? And I am occupying some amount of space also. So I am also a matter, right? You are also a matter. The computer or mobile phone in front of you is also a matter. So everything in this world can be a matter. So matter is made up of particles. Matter is made up of particles. Every matters are made up of particles. Particle means, particles are the tiny things which we cannot be able to see with our naked eyes. That much tiny things. Particles can be an atom or a molecule, anything. We will not be able to see that with the our naked eyes. We have to use the materials like microscope and all to see the particles. Is that clear? Okay. And now we are moving to the next one, that is characteristics of particles. Characteristics of particles means there are three characteristics. They are continuously moving, and the second one, they are having space between them, and the third one, they are having attractive force between the particles, right? And we just discussed about the difference in the characteristics for solid, liquid and gas. In solid state, the particles are having moving capacity very negligible. We can say that it is not moving itself. No movement is there, right? If the particles are moving, it will not be having a rigid shape. And the space between the particles are also less. We can say it has no space also. No moving capability, no space. Like that also you can say. Then the third one, attractive force. Very high attractive force. Maximum attractive force is there in solid. Maximum. Right? And when we come into the liquid, a medium moving capability of the particles, right? A medium level. A medium level of moving capability of the particles. And the second one, having space, a medium space. Right? A medium space. Space is there. Space is there. Blank spaces are there in between the particles. But it is a medium level, not a higher space. And the third one, attractive force. What about the attractive force? Is it maximum? No. Is it minimum? Never. It is medium. So those three things are medium. And the last one is gas. Moving capacity is maximum. Right? Gas particles are moving uncontrollably. Then the space between the particles is also maximum. Whatever the space they can take, that much they will take. Right? Attractive force is not there. We can say it as like that. Negligible attractive force means nothing is there. We can say nothing. No any attractive force between the particles. Right? I think you are clear about the topic we have discussed today. You just write it down, note it down very clearly, okay, and read it once. Then try to understand the topics we have discussed, and you try to describe by yourself itself, okay. So anyway, let's discuss about more in the next class. Thank you and have a nice day.